What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? It's your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Just want to give a shout out to the rest of the crew. Talking about Shy, Kelvin, and Jermaine, Kobe Bryant Film Room, and Big Dog Sports TV. And for everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make the show the best that it can be, which you are doing for sure, because as of today, we have earned the support of 1,400 subscribers. We have reached 1,400, almost 1,500. And I tell you what, it's a winning combination, and we must be doing something right. And as we try to do, we try to present sports in the proper context, which we feel has been lacking over recent time, and it's time to raise the bar again because the bar has been lowered for sure. But let's talk about this NBA. Let's talk about this NBA. And this is 2024, right? Let's go back to the year 2020, the year of the bubble, right? And remember, that was the season where the Oklahoma City Thunder would begin to move on from their top players like Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, Victor Oladipo, even a Serge Ibaka, right? And they brought in Chris Paul, who played for the Thunder for one season. And that season was so improbable, no one could fathom that Chris Paul would achieve what he achieved with that team, leading very young players during the season where the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were not even looking to compete. They were literally starting all over again. But nonetheless, CP3 had one of his best seasons ever in the NBA and leading that Thunder team to the playoffs in the bubble, and was one basket away from upsetting the Houston Rockets, led by James Harden and Russell Westbrook, to advance to the second round. And from there, they officially began their rebuilding project. They would go on to trade Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns, and they literally started from the bottom, right? And a lot of basketball pundits and experts or whatnot, journalists, they thought Oklahoma City was juvenile in a sense, because during that period from like 2020 up until, let's say, well, from 2019, let's say up until the 21-22 season, they were acquiring draft pick after draft pick after draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. And remind you that Sam Presti was brought on to be OKC's new executive president of basketball operations after his successful stint with the San Antonio Spurs, long-standing stint with the Spurs, serving in their front office. And we all know what he built in San Antonio, along with Greg Popovich. So you knew he had the pedigree to turn things around and establish a formula for long-term success. And he did so by acquiring over 30 first-round picks. And a lot of people out there thought they were crazy. But I'm looking at it, and I saw a genius, because he had the foresight to understand the landscape of the NBA, particularly as the dawn of the new decade was about to originate. I'm talking about this current decade of the 2020s, where we saw a team win in the bubble that was a byproduct of mortgaging their future off. No need to say who that team was in this video. But in doing so, acquiring all those draft picks, he was laying the foundation and the blueprint to build a franchise up, reestablish a franchise that had a lot of successful years, led by Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Thabo Sefolosha, Nick Collison, and the like, right? Well, history is about to repeat itself in grand fashion. And I believe this new version, this future version of the Oklahoma City Thunder, I believe they can have an even longer standing run than the original OKC Thunder led by KD. Right? And what's crazy is all the jokes that were directed towards this organization, nobody's laughing now. When I say nobody, I'm talking about the pundits. The ones that gave them the business and said they didn't know what they were doing. That's what they were saying now. They said they didn't know what they were doing. But as of right now, as of today, mind you, this is a team that's just getting started. And they sit atop the Western Conference in first place. Now, mind you, last year, they was missing their second round pick, rookie of last year's draft, Chet Holmgren. He missed the entire season due to a foot injury. But this team won 42 games, if I'm not mistaken. They finished 42-40. Let me check just to make sure. Yep. Actually, they finished 40-42. And they was one game from advancing out of the play-in to the playoffs. So you knew they had upside, a tremendous upside. And you fast forward half a season later, and with all these veteran teams in the Western Conference, the Lakers, the Suns, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Clippers, veteran teams. Even the defending champion Denver Nuggets, they sit atop the Western Conference. And this is what I had envisioned for the NBA throughout this decade because of the landscape that was beginning to take shape that started in 2020. Ironically, right after that bubble. Because mind you, last year, around the same point of the season, you saw the New Orleans Pelicans climb to the top of the Western Conference, claiming the number one, well, not the number one seed, but they found themselves in first place. And then they were hit with the injury bug in the worst way, where 2/3 of their roster succumbed to injury, almost like season-ending injuries to their superstars, stars, role players, reserve players, and New Orleans did not make the playoffs. But it was a prelude as to what we're going to see, what I believe we're going to see this decade, as the Denver Nuggets finished the regular season atop the Western Conference with the number one seed, and they went on to win the World Championship, right? A team like the Memphis Grizzlies, last two seasons, they finished the regular season with the number 2 seed. And they're just dealing with injuries right now to their best player and to their starting center and backup center, right? But this is what I envision because a lot of these franchises, particularly these small market teams, they understand that free agency is not the primary tool anymore to attract superstars. So why not draft as much young talent as you can and build them up, let them grow together, and more often than not, you will exceed expectations. And that's what's going on with OKC right now. They have a record of 31-13. They've only lost 13 games so far this season. Right? And their head coach, Mark Denault, he's doing a tremendous job with this young team. And as I mentioned earlier, Sam Presti, former executive of the San Antonio Spurs, he working his magic down there at OKC. And the way this thing is set up, because 90% of this roster is homegrown, is drafted. Outside of their best player, Sage Gilgeous-Alexander, who they acquired 4 seasons ago in their Paul George trade. And he's grown so much as a player to where now he's becoming a bona fide superstar to where he can earn first team all NBA honors. And so far this season, he's averaging 31 points a game, over 5.5 rebounds a game, and close to 6.5 assists a game, shooting 89% from the free throw line. He's playing amazing, and he's played every game so far this year. Second best player, Jalen Williams. He has one of the best shooting percentages in clutch situations so far. He's averaging 18.7 points a game. And the third best player, he's actually playing his first year returning back from that season-long injury, Chet Holmgren. He's averaging 17.1 points a game. And he's one of the leaders in block shots, averaging 2.6 blocks a game. And then to round out the starting five is Josh Giddey and Luguentz Dort. And the entire starting five is averaging double figures. And that's how a lot of teams were built in the 80s. Where your starting five, even though you had a superstar player who made average about 25 a game, 26 a game, whatnot, the whole starting five would more often than not average double figures. It doesn't mean they're a super team. It means they are a complete team, right? And they're getting contribution off their bench. Isaiah Joe, one of the best shooters, three-point shooters. He's shooting 42% from three. Kenrich Williams, he's shooting 40% from three. And let's see, Jalen Williams. They have another player by the same name, Jalen Williams. And they're getting great contribution on this team. And as a result, and I know it's shocking a lot of people, but it's not shocking those who understand that building a team with young talent takes time. And you will start to see the results by year 4. Now, as I said, they traded for Sage Gilgeous-Alexander during the off-season 2019. So, let's see, 2019, 2020, 21, 21, 21. So, he's entering, he's actually conducting his 5th year with this team. And look how much he's improved over the years. And the key to all this is patience. Understanding the landscape. Not going knee-jerk. Not, trying to replicate what we've seen take place over these past 15 years. Going top-heavy. Trying to stack the deck. Because you're going to lose more than you win. And your window to win is going to be shorter in the long run. And it'd be better if you just stayed the course. There was a team 5 years ago that had it all. I won't mention their name. They had the deepest young roster in the league, the best young core, most versatile young core. They had salary cap galore, and they had their draft picks. Now their talent pool is depleted, draft picks almost null and void, and they're just winging it. Again, I won't say the name of that team. No need to. When I look at the OKC Thunder, it just validates what I believe as a fan of the team that I won't mention, that if we had stayed the course, we'd be looking like OKC right now. Now, mind you, I'm not saying they're going to win the championship this year, but the way this thing is set up for them, the way Sam Presti is building up this organization with the draft picks, they can make a move anytime when appropriate, and they will always have leverage in trades because of the enormous asset pool that they have with their draft picks. First round picks. Then they have a bevy of second round picks too. So they can run the table. They can be at the forefront of NBA basketball for the next 12 to 15 years, where you will never see a significant drop-off in their performance. They will not bottom out because of the draft picks they got. They can continue to draft in young talent and the right players that fit their system and complement the players that's already on the team on a year-to-year basis. And they will be so fortified and so established, they can practically operate in cruise control at that point. But it takes patience in the beginning. And this is where I have to give fans of OKC a lot of credit. Because I know they want to see their team win, but I think they understood the situation. They remained patient. And now they have an awesome team to root for a very long time. This is just the beginning, and they're in first place. And like I said, I respect Denver Nuggets to the utmost. They're the defending champions, and I know come playoff time, they will bring their A game. No doubt about it. I believe they got the best player in the league. Well, he finished last year as the newly crowned NBA champion, first player to average a 30-point triple-double throughout the postseason in Nikola Jokic. And then you have Jamal Murray, who always raises game come money time. But this is how I see. I don't see any team in either conference play in like 3 to 4, advance to 3 to 4 straight finals in a row. I don't see that happening. I see, like, let's say, okay, Denver won the championship this year. Let's say another Western Conference team, they may make a key acquisition that can match Denver and possibly beat them in the playoffs, and then they'll be the team that can vie for the championship. This is what I see. I think it's great for the league. And I root for these small market teams. I mean, of course, you know your staple teams that are traditionally at the forefront. You know, you watch them, you enjoy them play when they play in a high level basketball. But in terms of these small market teams, they understand now. I believe they're setting the pace, and they are shaping the landscape. And OKC is one of those teams that's going to be at the forefront for a very long time. Think about it. Let's go back. Let's look at I'm going to pull up a record here from the previous seasons, and look how fast that they've advanced already in the shortest period of time. Now check this out, and I'll close this one out, finish this one up. Okay, so from the time that they went to the playoffs in 2020 in the bubble, their record was 44-28. They trade Chris Paul and all their top players remaining on their roster. And then for the 2020-21 season, they finished 22-50. Then the following season, in 21-22, they finished with a record of 24-58. And then last season, they finished at 40-42, and boom, they are 31-13 as we speak. And it just shows that patience is a virtue, having a long-standing view, a vision, that extends beyond the immediate need to win. It will pay dividends in the long run, and you have to root for a team like this, and there could be a future championship on the horizon. They will not fall off no way soon. It's not going to happen. The way this thing is set up is perfectly set up, and other teams are, succeeding in similar fashion, in the Western Conference in particular, and in the Eastern Conference, So kudos to OKC, and I just want to drop that nugget right there. They have a bright future, indeed. And until next time, this is JB for BTB, Behind the Bench.